Hi guys, welcome to this new class. Today we're going to learn about there is, there are, and it's. So if you want to know how to use these phrases, let's go. We often use there plus the verb to be and it as a subject, but they do not refer to any object. There is or there are used to introduce a topic or say that something exists. It is often used for talking about the weather, time, and distance. There is and there are in affirmative form. We use them to say that something exists somewhere. And we usually use there is with singular nouns. For example, there is a cat on the sofa. We're talking about a cat is a singular noun. Now, by contracting there is to theirs, you will sound more casual. You can use the contraction when you are talking with your friends or your family in a more casual occasion. And we use there are with plural nouns. For example, there are some cats in the kitchen. There are some cats. The noun cat is in plural, cats. That's why we use there are. Something important that you should know. We're going to use the same sentences that we used in the previous slide. There is a cat on the sofa. Now pay attention. When we are talking about a singular noun, in this case cat, we have to use indefinite pronouns like a or n to refer to the subject. Only these two indefinite pronouns. Okay? But now with the second sentence, there are some cats in the kitchen. When we're talking about a plural noun, in this case, cats, we have to use the word some for affirmative sentences or any for negative sentences to refer to the subject. In this case, the sentence is in affirmative form. That's why we use the word some. There are some cats in the kitchen. In this picture, we can see a really clear example of the use of there is and there are. In there is, we can see that there is a monster or there's a monster. And on the right side, we can see that there are 3 monsters. There are 3 monsters. That's in plural. That's why we use there are. Okay, let's continue with the lesson. Now the use of there is and there are, but in the negative form. We use them to say that something does not exist somewhere. We usually use there is not with singular nouns and there are not with plural nouns. For example, there is not any milk in the fridge. Or there are not any biscuits in the cupboard. Remember that to sound more natural, we will use the contracted forms. in the same sentences. You can use them this way. There isn't any milk in the fridge. Or there aren't any biscuits in the cupboard. If you notice, you will see that in the negative sentences, we use the word any. We use the word any when we are saying a negative sentence using there is or there are. Now we have other way to express ourselves with the phrases there is and there are. Instead of saying there isn't any or there aren't any, we can say there is no or there are no. With this way of using there is and there are, we don't use any contractions. We can't contract these forms, okay? For example, there is no music at the party. Or there are no open restaurants today. As we can see, we are using no contractions here. We are not using contractions here. So yeah, this is easy. There's no reason to panic. Let's continue, guys. Now, for using the phrases there is and there are, but in the interrogative form, we're going to do it this way, okay? This is very easy. In questions, the verb goes first. We simply switch the two words around. Now, there is becomes is there, and there are becomes are there. See? We can also use any when we want to express quantity, when we are talking about uncountable nouns, or for plural nouns. For example, in this case, in this sentence, we're going to talk about an uncountable noun that is the cheese, okay? Is there any cheese in this sandwich? We are using the word any because the uncountable noun is cheese. And we're switching the position of the verb to be and the word there. We're not saying there is, but is there. Is there any cheese in this sandwich? In the second sentence, in the second question, we have, are there any shops that sell shoes? We are using the word any because we're talking about a plural noun that in this case is shops. And we're switching the verb to be and the word there as we read here in the explanation. Are there any shops that sell shoes? And in the third example, in the third question, we have, is there a cinema that shows scary movies? Now look at this. Here, we don't use any. But why? That's right, because we're not talking about a plural noun or an uncountable noun. We're talking about a cinema, that it's a countable noun. That's why we use a, and it's in singular form. So that's why we use the indefinite pronoun a. Is there a cinema that shows scary movies? So, is there any reason to learn English? Of course. there are a lot of reasons to learn English. Really good reasons. Trust me. Now, if someone asks you a question using there is or there are, how to answer those questions? I'm going to teach you how to answer those questions with short answers, okay? In this case, with short answers. When we're speaking in English, we do not just say yes or no. We don't use that as an answer. So this is how we answer in the affirmative and the negative with there is and there are. For example, we're going to read one question and the answer that we should give when we're being asked something like this. Is there any cheese in this sandwich? Yes, there is. This is an affirmative answer, okay? Yes, there is. We're saying that there is any cheese in the sandwich. Is there a cinema that shows scary movies? No, there isn't. We're answering with a negative sentence, okay? No, there isn't. There isn't a cinema that shows scary movies. Are there any shops that sell shoes? Yes, there are. In this case, we're using the verb are because we're talking about a plural noun, okay? Shops. Are there any bars with live music? No, there aren't. In this case, we are answering with a negative sentence. I told you, there is a good reason to study English and to become a pro. Now we're going to learn how to use it's, okay? As we read in the first slide, we use it's for talking about the weather, time, distance, and days and dates, okay? For example, we have sentences like it's warm and sunny. In this case, we're talking about the weather. The weather is it's warm and sunny. What time is it? And you can answer, it's only 6 o'clock. We're talking about time. That's why we use it. How far is it to the shopping center? It's 3 kilometers to my house from here. It's a long way to walk. We're talking about distance in this sentence. It's Saturday tomorrow. Great. In this case, we're talking about a day. And if you ask, what's the date? You can be answered, it's November 18th. We also use it's plus an adjective and infinitive clauses, okay? Infinitive clauses are phrases where we use verbs in the infinitive form with the particle to before the verb, okay? And in these sentences, it refers forward to the infinitive clause, okay? It makes reference to the infinitive clause. So we have several examples Let's try the first one. It's nice to meet you. We have it. We have the adjective, that in this case is nice. And we have the infinitive clause, to, and the verb meet, to meet you. When we say it's nice, we are saying that what is nice? It's nice to meet you. It's hard to hear anything with this noise. And if we want to make a question with this form, we have to put the verb to be first and then it. Was it easy to understand him? And as you can notice, in this case we are using the verb to be, but in past tense. That's why we are reading was instead is. Was it easy to understand him? It'll be difficult to find the venue without a map. In this case, we're using it and the verb to be, but in the simple future tense. Okay guys, thank you very much. This is the end of the class. I hope you liked the class. You can leave a thumbs up if you think that it was cool. And I'll see you soon. I'll see you in the next class. Bye bye.